All right, what's up, guys? Ryan from Elevate Security back with another video. Happy Sunday. Hope you guys are having a good one. In this one, I wanted to make a bit more of a philosophical type video discussing hacking because, what is hacking, right? This is a term that is thrown around a lot on this channel, a lot on the internet, and I think it means a little something different to, each person depending on how you interface with security. But I wanted to dispel some common myths and even just give you, spark some discussion on hacking in general, right? I think that to a lot of people, hacking is, and especially people that are coming from outside the space of security, the outsiders looking in, hacking is doing crazy exploits, like 0 days and stuff like that to take over a system or take over, a technology, right? Now, yes, that certainly would constitute as hacking. I don't think there's any question about that, but hacking is a lot more than just that. But specifically, the way that I would define hacking is essentially using a piece of technology in an unintended way in order to obtain access to information that you shouldn't necessarily have access to. That would be like the broad definition that I would associate with hacking. Now, when you take a definition like that, that opens up a lot of possibilities, right? That really extends what hacking is into a lot of different possibilities. Like, for example, maybe some of my viewers on the channel, maybe some of you guys played video games back in the day. Maybe you still play them. And you might have had some experiences, as I have certainly, back in the day of learning how to cheese the game, right? Learning how to basically exploit the way that the game works in order to unlock stuff faster or in order to kill a boss like super easy, right? You're basically using that technology in a way that it wasn't intended to be used, and you were then, either, obtaining something that you shouldn't be able to obtain, or maybe faster, like in a way that you're not supposed to be able to. Like, you're not supposed to be able to level up that fast or whatever, right? You're essentially hacking. I would call that hacking, like 100%, because you are, going beyond the scope of what the developers had in mind, right? Now, I mean, if you want to argue that game hackers aren't hackers, then you could have that discussion with them. There's been a long history of people that have hacked games, and even still today can bot games and stuff like that, and that's very much hacking. A lot of those guys, especially the really advanced ones, they're going down into assembly, like changing values in memory. And, if you guys ever used Cheat Engine, they're doing a lot more than that, though. The advanced guys, they're actually like going in and looking at the assembly code and doing stuff with that. So, that is most certainly hacking. I would say even in that simple case that I talked about before, you were a hacker, you didn't even know it, basically. And, if you're still not sold on the idea, right? Let's take another example of what would constitute hacking. A lot of computer programmers are hackers. Now, if you read the book, one thing that really got me thinking along these lines is the book Hacking: The Art of Exploitation, I believe by Erickson. I'm not sure. But look that one up. That one's a kind of old book now. Came out in the, was it in the 90s? Or it's a pretty old book, that's all I know. Maybe it's not quite that old, but yeah, it is a pretty old book. But one thing they talk about on there was, essentially the term hacking started from, the programming sphere. These guys would basically, write code in a more, they would take a programming problem, and, that's why you have the term hackathon and stuff like that. They would basically write a program in a way that's more elegant, and it goes beyond the original intention, and it goes beyond really like sort of hacks problems, right? This goes into like the whole space of like algorithms and stuff like that. And like in layman's terms, they were hacking it in the sense that they were taking advantage of mathematical properties to like really optimize the code, really take something that, would be 100 lines of code and condense it down to 10 lines and be able to do the same stuff but way more efficiently and stuff like that. And then that got expanded into, traditional security. Now you're exploiting stuff. You're basically leveraging the technology and, and math and science and all that stuff, right? Now, that's like a super abstract example there, but, that's definitely hacking. Like computer programmers back in the day, they were hackers, right? That's why you have stuff like hackathon, right? And all that stuff. Now, sort of expanding on this point, I want to just touch on the different areas of security and how that definitely has different interpretations of hacking, right? Let's take 3 camps, We'll take first the black hat hacker, which is like the malicious hacker, right? And then secondly, we'll take the red teamer, a guy that works in corporate on a red team. And then thirdly, we'll take like the pen tester guy, a guy that, like me, works in corporate as a penetration tester. Now, all 3 of those camps of people are going to have different interpretations of hacking, right? Specifically the black hat person, for hacking, they're going to, basically, like I'm saying, leveraging things outside of the original intention to obtain information they shouldn't have access to, right? They're going to use any means necessary to do that. That's going to be their interpretation of it, using any means necessary to, get to the data. Now, with a red teamer, they're going to have a similar but slightly modified version of that. For them, it's going to be, getting access to the data by most means necessary, right? They're going to use social engineering. They're going to, try to trick the employees and stuff. They might even do some physical security where they're, they do like USB drops. They put a malicious file on a USB, leave it in the parking lot, see if someone grabs it, plugs it in on their corporate system, and automatically exploit it, gets a shell for them. They might go that far, right? But even for a red teamer, there's certain things that they wouldn't necessarily do, right? Like, so that's the difference there. With a black hat guy, it's any means necessary. Maybe they're even trying to do a denial of service, bring the servers down. The black hat guy is. Obviously, a red teamer, they're not going to do any kind of denial of service attacks on the network. It really depends on their goals, but the black hat people, they won't have anything in their way. They're going to do whatever means necessary to hack, essentially, versus the interpretation of hacking to a red teamer is, by most means necessary. Then thirdly, we'll take the pen tester. Now, they're just going to be looking for vulnerabilities in the technology. I say technology as a sort of catch-all term. Maybe it's, vulnerabilities in the server software, in the web app, in the desktop app, in the whatever, right? They're going to be focused on the vulnerabilities rather than any kind of social engineering exploiting people. That's the big difference there. So to them, hacking is, exploitation. And not even exploit development. That's a whole nother. If you're on that 4th camp of people that you're a security researcher and you spend all day trying to come out with 0 days, figure out 0 days to various software, then your interpretation of hacking will probably be more aligned with the general public when they think 0 days exploiting all that. Funny thing is, the security researchers, although people associate what they do with hacking, they're probably the farthest thing from, a true hacker, I guess you would say, which I would define as like a realistic threat actor, like a black hat person, right? People that are black hat, they might leverage security researchers or maybe some black hat or gray hat security researchers by accessing 0 days off of like the dark web or something like that. But most of the time they're not going to be, well, I shouldn't say that. You have like some pretty big threat actors certainly that have really sophisticated teams that are developing all custom tooling so they can't be very easily traced and detected. That's a whole nother discussion. But what I'm saying is that all of these different camps of people, they will have different interpretations of what it means to be a hacker. You just see that as evidenced right there. Yeah, what do you guys think about hacking? What does it mean to you? What really sparked this idea for the video in my head was I was talking to a friend recently that he's not really in the hacker space, though he's dabbled with a little bit of security stuff just as something like of a personal interest, right? And I started talking about different hacking techniques and stuff, like such as like keyloggers and different stuff like that. He's like, that's not hacking. That's not hacking. I thought you could hack into an iPhone, like if you didn't know any of the information, just hack in and like break in. And I was like, well, what you're talking about are like 0 days, like 0 day type vulnerabilities, right? And so I think that really highlights the way that a lot of people from the outside looking in view security. In their minds, only like 0 day type of like you're in the code, like like people that are doing like exploitation. They got like assembler on their screen and they're modifying registers and stuff. They buffer overflow type of exploits. They see that as hacking, and it is. But there's way more to it than just that. You're really going to tell me that the red teamer that has his command and control server set up and like has like 8 different shells inside a corporate network aren't real hackers because they used a word macro off a USB drop in order to get their initial shell? They're not hackers now. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, right? But really, yeah, hacking, I would define it as simple as saying that it's just leveraging technology in a way that other than what was intended in order to gain access to something you shouldn't. I mean, I guess it doesn't have to even be leveraging technology. Doing anything to gain access could be, hacking, right? Doing anything to gain access to information you shouldn't have is, it could be hacking, right? Because, you look at the case of social engineering, then in that case, you didn't really leverage any technology other than the exploit that is actually automatically hacking them once they execute it on themselves. But yeah, there's no official definition that everyone can agree upon, certainly. But I just want to open your eyes to, like, hacking is a lot more broad than most people think it is, right? So, what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments section below. And this is a bit of a different kind of video, but yeah, if you like the content, give it a like. And yeah, be sure to subscribe for more security content on a daily basis. And I will see you guys in the next video.